Good morning, everybody. It's Catherine Cooke here, leading business advisor and founder of The Engine, and top of the morning to you. I can't believe it's Monday morning already. Gosh, that rolled around so quick, but I hope you're all doing okay out there. This morning, I'm really privileged to have Wayne Simmons here from Scott Patt Business Finance. He's a lifer at Scott Patt Business Finance, and he's been helping a lot of businesses sort out an alternative situation to their finance rather than overdraft or business loans. I've actually myself worked on both sides of the fence many moons ago. I was an auditor and a lender at AGC Finance, and I've also been a client. I absolutely champion invoice financing, as it's a way a business can grow their business through their debtor ledger while sleeping well at night, knowing they didn't put their house or other personal assets on the line. Starting and growing a business is about taking risk, and the worry of losing your nest egg is very real. With invoice financing, that risk is reduced, and you just need to concentrate to sell. As you grow, so will your invoice finance facility options, and you'll have more working capital to operate from through invoice financing. So let's just kick it off. Wayne, how are you doing?
Really well, thanks, Catherine, and I've got to say it's a pleasure to be here with you this morning, and in fact to be with my favourite little engine, to tell you the truth. I always thought V8s were my favourite engines, but I think Catherine and the team have won me over, and you know, what a great engine to drive businesses forward, that's for sure. Thanks, Catherine.
Oh, thanks, Wayne. Really appreciate that endorsement, and absolutely, we're running on a ton of fuel at the moment, helping lots of businesses at the moment. So what
Awesome.
I want to dive into is the stricter lending requirements with the banks. And you know, I've got a lot of people who have never worked on cash flow, let alone the fact that they actually need money. And when I start talking to them about invoice finance, they almost think it's too good to be true. How can somebody lend me money without it being secured against my house, my personal assets? So Wayne, maybe if you could just demystify it, what is invoice finance and how does it work?
Yeah, absolutely, Catherine. Just firstly, if I could, just a little bit about myself. Just
absolutely.
To introduce myself to some of your viewers that might not know me, which is probably maybe a good thing. I'd have to say that the most important thing about me is that I'm a father of two beautiful teenage girls, Arabella and Mila. Mind you, being teenagers, not so sure about the beautiful part, but certainly a big part of my life. And I've been in the finance industry now for the past 20 plus years, 10 years as a commercial finance broker, so putting together debt and equity sort of type deals for my clients. So that was a lot of sort of property development work, property syndication work, commercial property acquisition, that type of thing. And that was awesome, loved it. And then transitioned from there into the foreign exchange part of the finance market, just assisting importers and exporters with their foreign exchange requirements. And for the last 5+ years or so, I've been with Scott Patt, and you know, loving what I'm doing, assisting and helping businesses and providing value to them with regards to their cash flow and working capital requirements.
Hey Wayne, I'm glad that you actually dived in talking about who you are, because I came to a strategic planning session, gosh, it would have been about 10-12 weeks ago now, and what always resonates with me with you is community. You are absolutely passionate about community and very heart-centric, you know, absolutely what we actually stand for here at The Engine. And that really resonated. The conversation flowing is you don't just talk about a business, you talk about the people behind the business. So I just want the viewers to know that Scott Patt Business is all about the people behind the business. So coming back to how invoice finance works, how does that work from your point of view?
Yeah, sure. So I'd have to say invoice finance is probably one of the most undervalued and underused financial products in the market. But in my humble opinion, I think it's also one of the most effective products out there for generating working capital and cash flow for businesses. And okay, so you might say, how's this achieved? And we do that simply by funding up to 80% of your invoices that you generate for your customers. So if you're generating an invoice for, say, $10,000, we can fund up to 80% or $8,000 of that invoice from day one. So instead of waiting for, say, 6 weeks to be paid by your customers, you can get access to that $8,000 today, use that to pay that cash to pay your suppliers, and hey, maybe even negotiate a early payment discount which could pay for, much or all of the costs of having the facility, pay the wages to your staff, which is pretty important, obviously, and just really run the day-to-day operations of your business. I'd like to say, Catherine, that I think it's kind of similar to an overdraft in the sense that, and the reason why I say that is people are obviously familiar with overdrafts and how they operate. But with an invoice funding facility, with an overdraft facility, I should say, people draw down their funds as they need them, and then as their customers pay them, they draw their overdraft back up again. Well, that's exactly the same as an invoice funding facility, and that's how it operates. You draw down the funds, that 80% say, and as your customers pay you 6 weeks later, the facility is drawn up again.
Yeah, absolutely. But unlike an overdraft facility, an invoice finance facility grows with you. So if I had an overdraft facility and I kept it out, I'd need to go back to the bank and ask for a reapproval. And we all know right now that it's really tough to go through that process. It's not as if you can just ring up somebody. We don't have dedicated bank people anymore, and that's not being derogatory to the bank institution. It's a fact. At Scott Pat Business Finance, at least you've got a family of really solid people that are supporting you. So all you have to do is sell, spend all that time investing in your salespeople, get their KPIs going, reward them well, and you'll see that invoice finance facility grow. Is that correct?
That's exactly right, Catherine. Yeah, couldn't have put it better myself. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So overdraft versus Scott Pat Business Finance, that overdraft is also more than likely secured against your personal assets, right?
That's exactly right, and that includes housing, which obviously a lot of customers are not happy to have their personal properties put up as security for their businesses. So that's definitely one of the major advantages of an invoice funding facility, and that is you don't have to put your personal properties up. We don't need it. We don't require it as security.
Absolutely. And, I get people saying to me all the time, oh, it must be really expensive. And I say to them, well, back when I was obviously doing it at AGC Finance, the rates were very, very high, but it was still the same requirement. They still had that personal one-to-one service. And how much value do you put on your personal asset risk versus paying maybe that extra percentage more? So how would you demystify the cost of doing invoice finance, Wayne?
Yeah, that's a really, really, really good question, Catherine. I think that, as you mentioned, there's definitely, can be a perception in the marketplace that invoice finance is expensive. But I like to say to people that I talk to about this exact same topic, and that what about the true cost or the opportunity cost of not having access to the right facility that is flexible enough to, say, grow your business? Say, for example, say you've got a business with a turnover of, say, $5 million, and you've got aspirations to grow that business to, say, $10 million over the next 2 to 3 years, and you've got the wrong working capital facility in there to be able to facilitate that growth. What is the cost of not getting to $10 million over that three-year period? Well, obviously the cost is, the turnover that you're going to miss out on, and also the revaluation of your business as from a $5 million turnover business to a $10 million turnover business. So from that perspective, the opportunity cost could be really huge by not having the right, cash flow facility in place. But say if we're comparing apples with apples with regards to an invoice funding facility with another type of financing, and I'm talking about where, we're securing just against the business, not with other assets such as plant and equipment, personal houses and commercial property, etc. Invoice funding can be a really, really, really cost-effective, method to be able to fund your, cash flow and your working capital.
Yeah. Look, let's talk about Scott Pat Business Finance. I mean, why Scott Pat Business Finance? There's a multitude of different entities out there also offering the same thing. I know personally why I would go with Scott Pat. I love your heart centricity. I love the fact that you guys are one-to-one with your client and that. But from your humble opinion, you're inside there. Why Scott Pat Business Finance?
Yeah, that's another really good question, Catherine. Actually, can I say that there's probably two things that I like to keep front of mind, and the first thing is, why do I exist as a BDM, and why does Scott Pack exist? you know, secondly is like, you know, why should anyone care? And to illustrate this point, I put out a LinkedIn post last Friday. If your viewers haven't had a chance to watch it for no other reason that, wow, it's a bit of a miracle that I worked out how to actually post it on LinkedIn. And in that post, I talk about a poll that showed a major producer of stress for business owners is cash flow management. And I've met numerous business owners, Catherine, as you have, I'm sure, and as you are one yourself. You know, these are all genuine, good, decent people who care. You know, they care about their staff, and, you know, they feel responsible for paying their wages and, you know, paying their supplies, etc. And I know from speaking to them that many of them do lay awake at night stressed about this. And, you know, as I like to say, I think that, you know, these business owners are some of the real heroes that we have in our society, where they, you know, they've put everything on the line. They're using their ingenuity, their courage, backbone and fortitude to build businesses that employ people. And for me, one of the reasons why, you know, why ScotPack is because we understand about that and we care about that, and we want to provide value to those people so that they can sleep well at night. The second point that I made is why should people care is because of exactly that. Why should anyone care about ScotPack? Because we genuinely are trying to put that, you know, human element into, you know, ensuring that our customers are well looked after. You know, plus we've got 30 years proven track record of assisting businesses manage their cash flow, which is huge because, you know, we've been there, done that, you know, bought the t-shirt, and, you know, we've got a track record of being able to assist businesses really well in that, with that part of their business. And also, you know, we're probably one of the largest, if not the largest, non-bank debtor financier in Australasia. So, you know, very well capitalised, so no problems with, you know, with availability of funds.
I'm glad that you talked about the 30 years, and I was actually just thinking in my head, I turned 50 this year, and I was actually just 20 when I went into invoice financing at AGC Finance. So, yeah, I elevated pretty quickly, probably because everybody was too busy doing other things and I was actually busy doing the lending, but that's a story for another day. But look, I'm glad that you mentioned about cash management, and I did a newsletter last week to all my subscribers, all the businesses that we send out to, and you know, cash is king. And if you don't manage your company's cash flow, it's no wonder you're not sleeping well at night, you know. And I always talk to people about, and it sounds easy and simple, but a lot of people don't do it. I talk to them about understanding where their cash is going, because a lot of the time they look at their profit and loss and they say, I earned all this money, but where's it gone? And the thing is, it's not actually truly represented because they don't actually understand their balance sheet. So when they come to see people like you or the bank, they're not actually even prepared to actually be, you know, in a situation of asking for the money. And so with ScotPack Business Finance, if you actually get an invoice finance facility, like I said, you don't have to keep going back to ScotPack. They already understand your business. It's easy to just grow that ledger. So I thought we'd kick off now talking about some success stories with ScotPack. And in our newsletter last week, I stole one of your articles, and it was actually to do with Wade Glass. And in 2013, after 20 years as a chartered accountant, you know, he became a director of RHG Holding, and more recently Claymark Group, which is a forestry and sawmilling business, as well as curtain business, Harvey Furnishings in the North Island and Millers in the South Island. One would kind of go, why does he need you? He's got so many businesses, but he does need to go he does need to come to you to grow from, let's just say, 10 million to 20 million, because it's not like he has that money on tap. But what I really loved about the reason that ScotPack went to work with him is he had skin in the game. I believe he's a client of yours, Wayne. Tell me about the success there for you.
Sorry, I missed that, Catherine.
Tell me about the success there for you in onboarding someone like Wade with that caliber into the ScotPack.
Yeah, sure. Wade's a good dude, really good dude, become, you know, a good friend actually, and which a number of these business owners do because you get to know them so well. And they're building, and he has built, as you've said, a number of successful businesses and building another one that we're fortunate enough to be a part of, which is fantastic. So this is basically it's a sawmilling operations with a turnover, in excess. We're involved in the purchase of it actually. So there's a purchase price, well in excess of the tens of millions of dollars. And for this particular transaction, it was quite a tight deadline. So we had, really from day one, we had 30 days to settle this transaction. Otherwise, the clock was ticking. And there were a number of risk factors that we had to mitigate. Now, which we, managed to do during that 30-day period of processing the application, etc. So in the end, we decided that we would be able to provide two types of facilities actually for their business. One was a debtor funding facility, which is our bread and butter, which was what we do and do really well. And that was in the multi-millions of dollars to provide working capital for the business as it kicked off. And also what we did is we looked at providing an equipment funding facility, which we don't normally provide in New Zealand. But because we were wanting to provide a solution for a client, we got our Australian business involved. We put our heads together and we said, look, how can we find a solution here, guys? We've only got the clock's ticking. We've only got probably, 15, 20 days left. What can we do? And, to the credit of our guys in Australia and our management over there, they were fantastic. We managed to stitch together an equipment funding deal that we funded out of Australia for this particular business. And as a result, we were able to add some real massive value for Wade and his team, which we feel really privileged to be able to do, Catherine.
And that's what you want. You want to be able to be in trusted hands, and so you can concentrate on your business, but know that you're actually going to be looked after over here. So also, John and Fiona Harlan from ERG Recruitment absolutely champion what you do at ScotPac. They've been clients of yours for quite some time as well, and you operate quite a bit in that recruitment space as well in terms of promotion. Because let's just face it, sometimes in recruitment, I might hire somebody, but the client may be on term 20th, 30th of the month, or sometimes even now with money being so tight, recruiters need to be creative and say, hey, look, we'll carry those terms maybe for a couple of months.
Sure.
It's really hard on businesses to carry that funds when they've actually got bills to pay, right? So
absolutely, it certainly is, and you're dead right. I mean, the recruitment industry is a big part of our business because we see our facilities fitting hand in glove with their business model. And if you're carrying a wage bill for 6 weeks, it could be in the hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. It can be very, very difficult to provide that out of your own cash flow of your business. So, hey, why not look at a facility that's going to be able to do that for you? You don't have to put your house up as security. You don't have to put any other assets up as security. And as you grow your business, guess what? Your facility, your invoice funding facility grows with you. So, for that type of business is absolutely gold.
And right now, even though we are in lockdown, there's a lot of businesses, even as they came out of lockdown, that are really humming with sales.
Sure.
Probably the growth that they're having is so much that they can't keep up. They can't keep up financially, and this is actually the perfect model. I just want to say to the viewers, however, who are watching this, that an invoice finance facility is for business to business. It's not business to client. Am I correct in saying that? Is it still?
Yep, you certainly are. Absolutely.
Yes. And so business to business is basically a really important factor, and especially with logistics and fluctuating cost and exchange rate and all that happening right now, having this facility means that, if you are selling lots, you can actually negotiate. Coming back to your words that you were using before, Wayne, you were talking about negotiating, pricing. So if I'm a Wade and I'm doing, I'm needing timber or whatever I need for my business, I'm able to negotiate because I've got money in the hand, and money in the hand gives me the power to be able to do that. So what other success stories have you got on your table there?
Oh, well, we've got a number of success stories, but just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of a manufacturing business, actually, out of Auckland, sort of south of Auckland. and they manufacture products for the building industry. Once again, a couple of top guys that own the business, and they employ probably 20 or 30 staff members or more, and so fantastic little business. Well, not a little business, a small to medium business, and they basically, I got introduced to this business by a broker, and this business at the time, they had a turnover in excess of $50 million, but their existing overdraft that they had with their bank was well less than $1 million, which was just not supporting their growth, and it was actually putting the brakes on it, to tell the truth. So that overdraft with their bank was also supported by a number of other assets, including their personal homes, rental properties, and commercial properties. So they'd approached their bank to increase their overdraft limit, but they were declined for whatever reason that they were declined for. So we had a look at the deal, loved it, loved the business, loved the people running the business, because that's important to us, and the caliber of people that are running their businesses. And so we came on board, and we provided them with an invoice funding facility of in excess, from memory, was in excess of $3 to $4 million. So straight away, we provided them with more than 3 times their existing, cash flow limits. Together with, get this, we didn't require their personal properties, we didn't require their rental properties, and we didn't require their commercial property as security. So, as you can imagine, these guys are over the moon. So for us, that's a really good news story, and that's why, we love doing what we do, Catherine.
Yeah, and I can imagine, I can remember back in my days at AGC Finance, just, watching clients grow, but also watching the stress fade away from their faces. You still got other stress, let's face it, and being in business, as you said, they take on all that risk and care and everything that goes with it.
Yep, absolutely.
There's this myth that you're in business to get rich. It's not a get rich quick scheme. I can assure people of that. There's a lot of stress that goes with it. Let's just talk about what an expected process would look like for onboarding. Like, I know that you obviously need to secure that debtor ledger. So you take what's called a GSA, a general security agreement, over the business. So can you just talk about that process of onboarding for a client? So let's just say you just approved me, I'm coming on board with Scott Pack Business Finance.
Sure.
What does it look like?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, because there is a process like any other sort of finance provider. And genuinely, I'd say to either brokers or customers that come to us directly, just, bring me up, let's have a chat about your business. And then what I'll ask for from there, Catherine, is I'll ask for, just a set of financial accounts. And that could just be management accounts from your accounting software. We'd request the latest debtor and creditor ledgers. And then from there, that's enough information for us initially to put out an indicative letter of offer. So the indicative letter of offer is an offer letter from Scott Pack, which is spelling out the terms of any facility that we'd look to get approved through our credit team. So, and that's the period of time we'd be negotiating with either the broker or the client to be able to get the terms right so that both parties are happy, and then we'd have sign off from that offer, and then I would ask for, or myself or Baldesh, who's one of my colleagues here, we work together on this whole onboarding process. We would ask for further information, things such as proof of deliveries, copies of invoices, etc. And we'd put a credit submission together for our credit team. And, as the sales team, our role and job is to champion this business. So we're putting forward all the positive things of trying to mitigate any sort of credit risk that we see there, with a view to having our credit team sign off and approve the facility. Once it's approved, we'd then get the legal documents drafted and signed. And that legal documents would include things such as, yes, absolutely, a GSA over the business, if either a first or second GSA, because we can sit behind another financier as long as we have priority over the debtors ledger. So we don't even have to have a first GSA to fund these businesses, which is great. So that provides lots of flexibility for our clients. Once we've got the legal documents signed, we'd then push to settle the facility from there.
Sounds pretty seamless to me. And, I challenge all those people out there that are doing business to clients right now, have a real look at your business, because there could be an opportunity for you to be doing business to business. A use, for example, let's just say a solar company. A solar company might be doing business with residential, but there's an opportunity to do business to business with a commercial business as well, to save power. Someone owns a building.
Absolutely.
That opens up a whole another door. And if you think you can't fund it, well, now you can. You've got a facility where you can actually do that. One thing that I always find is an obstruction, and it happened way back when I was actually doing invoice financing as well, is demystifying the roadblock of clients knowing I'm doing invoice financing. I don't know why, but people always think if you're doing invoice financing, you're heading down a path of, going into receivership or liquidation or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Really clear to people, this is an alternative option that's going to keep you out of that. So Wayne, you must come across this all the time as well, Yeah,
I do from time to time, but I think that perception is definitely changing. I think that was a hangover from, say, maybe 20 or 30 years ago in the industry. But I think that is definitely changed, and it's definitely changed over in the likes of the UK, where, I think from memory, something like 24% of their businesses are doing invoice funding. It's definitely changed in Australia, where a huge percentage of businesses over there are also funding their working capital through an invoice funding facility, and it's starting to change here in New Zealand, which is great. And the thing is, I say when I'm sitting down in front of people, it's like, hey, there's no need to be fearful, and I think fear is the key here, and I think it's a fear that's not based or grounded on any facts really, because most of your clients are probably already dealing with an invoice funding company anyway. So there's no issues, and to be fair, Catherine, most of these businesses don't really care that you're dealing with an invoice.
Absolutely, it's just paying a bill, really, isn't it? I guess it just, once you get the communication right and they understand that theoretically they are still paying you, that's the important factor. They just want to know that there's going to be no recourse on you going after them for money they've paid Scott back, when they know that they're actually just paying you anyway. So I'd like to kind of if there are viewers out here that are watching it who are accountants, who are bankers, do the right thing by your client and come to Scott Pat Business Finance and just inquire about a facility for your client. Even if you're a bank and you can't give the money to the business who's your client, look for an alternative route. Scott Pat Business Finance is that alternate route. Same with accountants. Don't necessarily just assume that your client want to put their homes and rental properties up as collateral. Do the right thing, and if you know that there's an opportunity to grow that business through the debtor ledger, look at the other alternative option. So
that's right. Yeah, Catherine, do you mind if I just carry on one
sure.
further point on that? And that is, if it is still a major roadblock for business owners, we do offer a confidential product. So in a confidential product, no one actually knows that you're dealing with us. So if your business meets that criteria that we require for a confidential product, then that's certainly an option for you to put in place, so that your customers don't even know that you're actually dealing with us.
So I had confidential and non-confidential way back then, but do you want to explain for the viewers what confidential and non-confidential means, just so they understand?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, as I've said, a confidential facility is exactly that. We don't contact your customers or clients at all. It's completely confidential. Your clients don't know that you have a facility with Scottish Pacific unless you tell them. And basically, a non-confidential product is a product which basically, as it says, is that your clients know that we're dealing with you. We will touch base with them from time to time to verify if there's an invoice that's been presented, that the details are correct. And also from time to time, we'll, particularly for businesses that want it, we will also provide the follow-up calls, etc., to be able to chase up overdue invoices.
Right, so data management.
Data management. So some of our clients love that, and they just, and that's one of the reasons why they engage us, is because they see it as a good cop, bad cop scenario, where they're the good cops, they're dealing with all their day-to-day aspects of their business. We're the bad cops because we're ringing them up and asking them to pay their invoices.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I remember my days of when I used to do that and the interesting stories. In fact, I should just about write a book of how I was going to be receiving money, like from builders saying, yeah, my
Yeah, absolutely.
dog bringing it in an envelope, and literally within an hour, I'd get the lady at reception saying to me, "Hey, there's a dog in reception," and I'd be like, "Oh my god!" But yeah, some really crazy ways like that people used to pay us, I can tell you. But
Oh, absolutely. Yep, for
look,
sure.
I love, obviously I've been working with you guys now, for quite some time. Obviously met Wayne Goss before he went to Australia. He's now back sitting in the seat of GM, and your former GM has got his trainer wheels off now. He's now got his trainer wheels off as a business development manager down in the Taranaki.
Yes, yep. Greg was he used to do the role as a business development manager some years back, so it's all pretty old hat for him really. But yeah,
Uh,
Greg's a great guy, fantastic guy, and he's taking care of our sort of lower part of the North Island and parts of the South Island with respect to assisting businesses there to be able to give them some cash flow to run their business and grow.
Well, that's good to know, because I thought he was still wearing trainer wheels, but no, I'm just joking. I'm hoping Greg's watching to see what I said, because he was meant to front up today, but he's got the day off, and he had a legitimate reason for that too. So
I think he's still hungover from the South African victory a week ago.
yeah, I know.
It happens so little, right?
Yeah. Look,
He's still celebrating.
I've got a friend who's South African, and we're in the same bubble because he rents on our property, and he was wearing his greens yesterday, and I said, mate, put some different clothes on, please. I'm sick of wanting that look in my face. But we're passionate rugby people, so we absolutely love the rivalry. We really do. So look,
Awesome.
to wrap this up, I just want to say thank you, Wayne, for sharing a little bit about your family and your two beautiful girls, even though I know what you mean by that whole teenage thing. Mine are 19 and 22, and they still challenge me. But at the end of the day, family is so important to me, and I know it is to you as well. So
Absolutely.
let's just wrap this up with top tips for why someone should do invoice finance. So just give me 3 succinct top tips right now, just to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think first thing is to check to see if your existing facility actually facilitates your business aspirations. I mean, that's pretty important. And one of those should be growth. So one of the reasons that an invoice funding facility is so good is because it facilitates growth better than any other facility, in my humble opinion. And that's 20 years in the finance industry. I haven't seen a better facility from a security perspective, from a flexibility perspective, to be able to grow your business. And for the right business, it's fantastic. The second thing is, which we've already touched on, is your security profile. That's really, really important. I think it's important to be able to separate out your personal assets from your business assets, because we're not Nostradamus. None of us know what's going to happen in the future. And of course, we expect our businesses to be liquid and trading, but we just don't know because we trade in an environment of uncertainty. Our whole lives are filled with uncertainty, obviously. So take away some of that uncertainty by separating your personal assets out from your business assets. I think it's really important. And I think also one of the other things is not missing out on business, potentially not missing out on business. So if you've got an invoice funding facility and there's an opportunity for you to take on further business, but you're worried about how you're going to actually fund that with your invoice funding facility, no problems. Take the business on, rest assured that you've got the working capital there to be able to grow your business and be awesome, really.
Oh, I love that. I love that word, awesome. And that's really what it's about, right? And so my tips basically is very much the same as yours. If you want to grow your business, don't hamstring it. Come and have a conversation with Scott Pitt. It may go somewhere, it may not go somewhere, but at the start of a conversation, always look for an opportunity in the no. So if the bank says no, or the other lender that you've got says no, look for an alternate option come and see us here at the Engine. We'd be happy to help you get your cash flow right, get your whole profile looking right, but also to get that conversation started with Cooke Business Finance. So Wayne, thanks so much for coming on this morning with me. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And
absolutely, no problem.
And love the stories that you're telling as well, because you know they're real and they're happening. And so, what have you got planned for the rest of your week?
Well, the rest of my week, I've got a few deals on the go, which is really good. So I'll be spending time with Baldesh, as I was talking to you about. So we're going to be stitching those together, and you know, because our goal is to make some more happy customers, which is great.
Yes.
Also, I'm trying to organise a game of online poker, which will be great, because get a few of the boys around the table, which will be good. And that would be great. And also, just, you know, spending some time with my girls, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, well, look, you take care out there, and I'm not sure how the levels are going to go this week, but it's business as usual here at the Engine, and we're helping lots and lots of businesses with their challenges, but there is no challenge that we can't actually help you with. We've got a great provider pool. Scott Pack's one of our specialists in our provider pool, and hey, they're ready and willing to help you at any stage of your business. So do give us a call. Thanks, Wayne. Have a great week.
Thanks, Catherine. Pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.